Okay. All right. So starting again. Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining. Yeah, tonight is the Easy Essentials class. It is a lot of basics, things that you're going to make in your Thermomix and learn to make really well. They do complement lots of other things that we make, but we're giving you the basics that you need to feel confident and to give something a go. Everything we're doing tonight is really, really easy, from whipped cream to butter to then making buttermilk. We're doing a mayonnaise and then a coleslaw. Karina's going to do some caramelized onions and some grated cheese, and it's a focaccia bread.
Well, it's the same bread that you've got, but I'm just
Buttermilk bread, but laid out like a focaccia.
yeah.
So showing you a few different options. Super quick. Hopefully we'll all be done in an hour. There's a really great chat box there for you to pop in your burning questions. Just admitting a couple more people to join. But I think we might just get started. We really, really want you to take all this on board, soak in the hints and tips and tricks. There's always stuff to learn. I've been in this business 10 years and I'm still learning every day. And I'm sure, Karina, you are as well.
I think I just clicked over my 8-year anniversary yesterday.
8 years, congratulations. We're both kind of the northern end of the Gold Coast. We both run our own teams and we're here to inspire. So these classes are going to happen every couple of months. So over to you, Karina. Let's get started.
Yeah, why not? Let's kick it off. So I'm going to start with some grated cheese, which I'm going to use on that flatbread that Kassan talked about. And I'm going to show you, it is one of our newest modes on our Thermomix. So to access your mode, you just swipe to the left, and that should bring up all these beautiful little icons. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about all of them because there's certainly plenty there to go through. I think we started off with about half a dozen and we've worked our way up to, I'm going to say about 25, is it 25 modes that we've got on there now, Kassan?
Somewhere around, I think there's 18 on the screen.
18, yeah.
But individual modes, yeah, it does add up quite. I think it's above 20 now.
Absolutely. So there's lots to see and do in there. And as I said, at any stage, if you're not sure about anything, pop it in the chat or do reach out to your consultant after the class. But we're going to use the newest one, which is our chop feature. Now, chop used to be, when we were grating or milling or chopping anything in our Thermomix, we always used to refer to the basic cookbook, which you'll see behind Kassan's shoulder. At the very back, there's a resources section, which is still great to go and have a look through if you haven't already done so. But we used to have to do all this manually. Now we've got a mode that does it all for us. So just down here, you've got plenty of different, I might just get someone, have you found that? Perfect. So there's lots of different selections to choose from apples right through to, what's our very last one, down to our sugar and our white chocolate. So lots of different items that you can choose from. It's like your everyday things. But tonight we're going to use the hard cheese just here. So we just basically, very simply tap on the cheese icon. It tells us that we want to do anywhere between 70 to 300 grams. I think I've got 300 grams here right on the dot. Down on the left-hand side, there's a little scales icon. So you can bring that up and pop your cheese straight in there. So we're about 224. Perfect. So right between that 70 and 300 grams, chopped into just 2 to 3 centimeter cubes. So nothing special. And then simply put the lid, your measuring jug lid and measuring cup on there, hit set. And then we're just going to turn that right round to speed 7. So what it does is it works out the weight resistant on the blades to get you the right time. And then you just simply, like most of your guided recipes that you're going to see tonight, just turn the speed. So in just 5 seconds, we've gone from cube cheese into our grated cheese. Now, I know it's not that stringy cheese that we all know and love, but there's a couple of reasons that we do it this way. Obviously, when we're putting it on something like our bread tonight, it's just going to melt anyway. So it doesn't need to be picture perfect before that happens. But the other good thing too is that, I'm not sure whether you're aware, but first and foremost, block cheese or any whole ingredient that you buy at the supermarket is always going to be cheaper than the processed product of it. So for example, block cheese is cheaper than grated cheese by kilo. So when you're at the supermarket next, have a look and see how much the price is per kilo between the two. The other thing that I was told a very long time ago is that grated cheese that you buy at the supermarket is actually full of what they call anti-caking agent. Now, the reason they put this lovely product into your grated cheese is to keep it looking nice on the shelf. But it's actually like a byproduct of sawdust, and we certainly don't want to be eating that in our food. So please be very aware that when you are buying the byproduct of something, what fillers they're putting in there to extend the shelf life. Another good one is almonds. I always mill my own almonds for almond meal. I keep the skins on, do nothing special with them, and use that straight into my baking, which, as I said, is fresher, costs less, and doesn't have any added preservatives or nasties in it, basically. So I'm just going to put that to the side, and we're going to use that on our bread in a little moment. I'm not going to, sorry, that was me just tapping the side of the bowl. Not going to clean the bowl out. I'm just going to get straight on with my caramelized onions. So I'm going to pop out of here. I know the screen's probably a bit hard to see, so I'll sort of try and talk through rather than being able to visually see it. But under your burgers, on your three little lines on your left-hand side, which you hopefully would have been shown at your delivery if you've had your one yet, we bring up our main menu screen. So we're going to pop into recipes. And I've actually created a collection called Easy Essentials class. So it's nice and quick and easy to find on screen. So we're just going to scroll down there, go down to E. It's all in alphabetical order. And Easy Essentials class. And we're going to do the sauteed onions. Now, the reason that we have to follow a guided recipe with a sauteed onions, so this is one of the things that are exclusive to the TM6, is the sauteed onions are actually going to be done on high heat tonight. So for that, we have to use a guided recipe just for safety reasons, but it's very, very quick and easy. Sauteed onions, great for using, I guess, pizzas is a great one, which we're sort of going to use tonight. One I really love, though, is doing this recipe first. Once I've done the onions, I put them to the side and then I use them in my soups, especially pumpkin soup, because they're caramelized. It really, really lifts the flavor. So that's why your high heat recipes really come in handy, because you can do that step pre-doing the recipe and have them all ready to go.
Sausage sizzle.
But yeah, listen for the sizzle.
Sausage sizzle is a great one. I always put this on for a sausage sizzle because it's hands-free.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't have to do, I had small onions, so I just cut them into quarters. If you have larger, maybe just cut them into eighths. You don't have to be very precise with them, but they do need to be wedges. Just again, because they're high heat, they need that resistance on the blades to make sure that they get a really even caramelization and get that beautiful flavor throughout. So anywhere between 200 and 300, which I've done. I've got just under 300. And this is where you're going to use your splash guard. So your splash guard looks like this. So if you've just unboxed your Thermomix, you might be wondering what this little bad boy is. So this is what we call the splash guard. So if you can imagine doing frying over on your stovetop, this is what's covering your fry pan. Well, we're essentially covering our bowl. So just to get that, getting the airflow around there safely. And we just put that straight on top of the lid. It tells you on the screen when to use it. So you'll never need to sort of guesswork it. It'll always tell you on screen which part of the Thermomix that you need to have, whether it's the varoma, the simmering basket, or in this case, as I said, the splash guard. So this one here, it presets guided recipes. It presets everything for you. You only have to turn your selector on the right-hand side. So sauteed onions are going to go for 10 minutes. Our maximum heat, which for the new TM6, correct me if I'm wrong, Cassandra, but I believe it's about 160 degrees.
Yep, 160.
Yep, which is an increase from 120 of our TM5 days.
Yes.
Yeah, so a whole 40 degrees hotter. So really taking those flavors to the next level. You'll see these little wiggly lines on the right-hand side. That means we're on a high heat mode, and we're simply just going to turn the selector to start. And that's hands-free. I can walk away now for 10 minutes when my onions are doing what they need to do.
Awesome. Just on the high heat, for those of you who are new customers, you may not know how to find high heat on your in your cookie dough. Reach out to your consultant. They are a wealth of knowledge. There are specific high heat collections in cookie dough for individual ingredients like onions, mushrooms, capsicum, bacon, chicken, beef cubes, all those kinds of things. So if you're not sure how to find it or how to change your cookie dough recipe view from recipes to collections, please reach out to your consultant because they'll be able to help. So we're going to move straight into doing the whipped cream. And I think I might actually do the whipped cream recipe rather than the butter recipe because I'm going to make it straight after.
Can you hear the sizzle just before you get started? I just thought.
Not quite.
Not quite. I might be a bit far away, but yeah.
Maybe.
Definitely one to put on your next list to see at your next demo.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with the whipped cream recipe. It's really, really easy. There's even, you'll see on the TM6, there's also videos. So there's easy how-to videos in some of the recipes on showing you what to do if you're not really sure. It's telling me to pop the butterfly in, and it goes to the left of that high blade on the blunt side, like that, and anti-clockwise turn, and it's grabbed hold of the blades. Maximum speed 4 on your butterfly, guys. Just remember, a butterfly's got 4 wings. So does your butterfly, okay? Maximum speed 4. Pop that back in. Now we're going to pop in our cream. It says 200 to 600 grams of pure cream. I'm actually just using thickened cream tonight because it's just what I grabbed. It was on special. It's a lot cheaper than pure cream. Depending on the date of your cream is how quickly it will whip. So the further away the expiry, the longer it will take to whip into butter or into butter. We don't want to quite go fully to butter yet. I want to show you how to do the cream first. So we'll pop that in. And if you want to be a bit frugal, just drop your container on your butterfly and let it drip. Get all that cream out. Okay. $5.95. I got ripped off 5 grams. Woolies, what's that? All right, so turn speed selector to speed 3. Meanwhile, follow the next step. Now you basically got to watch it. Some cream, you might only take 20 seconds to whip. Some cream can take minutes. So you want to watch it through the hole on the top. We'll turn that around to speed 3. And it tells me to watch carefully through the hole to avoid over whipping. Take the MC off. I think I'm going to have to make scones now to go with this fresh cream farina.
That sounds divine.
I've got some beautiful raspberry jam. Perfect.
My favorite scone recipe is definitely the lemonade scones. If you haven't tried them, I highly recommend writing. If you've got pen and paper in front of you, write down lemonade scones.
Lemonade scones, they're so good.
To search in cookie dough.
I think the trick with scones is just not to handle the mixture too much. It's just to be really quick with it and get it in the oven. We always, when we do a roast in the Weber, we always have some scone mixture ready to go to chuck straight into the Weber after we pull the roast out. Oh my God, so good. So I can hear it starting to change. I don't know if you can hear it or Zoom has switched the sound off, but I can hear the sound starting to change.
That's something really important with your Thermomix is that you're very used to hearing different sounds, and you'll know very instantly when something doesn't sound quite right. And if anything like that ever happens, so the selector here, the grey silver selector on the right hand side, I also call it like an emergency stop button. So if anything doesn't feel right, whether you're manually cooking or guided cooking, you can always tap that, check inside your bowl and make sure that everything's right and start up again.
Yeah. All right, so about 1:40. Now at this point, I've kind of got soft peaks. So this is perfect for scones, pavlovas, that kind of thing. So you can see there, that's about 1:40. It's actually a bit more than soft peaks. It's
Yeah,
not.
that's pretty good. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that looks really good. Now you could turn this into chantilly cream as well if you like by adding a bit of icing sugar. That was the only way my grandmother would make whipped cream, was with icing sugar in it. One of those childhood taste memories.
So sometimes at the supermarket, you'll notice that they've got end of day discounts, or at different times they'll have the markdowns. So something to look out for, being a Thermomix owner now, is the pure cream. Pure cream is one of the biggest things that seem to go on special in the supermarket. So just around your yogurt, cheeses, depending on your supermarket, look for it being reduced. Sometimes I've seen it as low as 20 cents.
20 cents, yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. Now it might be ready to be used by the next day. Just ignore that, because I don't know whether Kasar mentioned, she probably did. The older the cream, the better it is for butter. So even if you get it home and you don't use it straight away, a couple of days or even a week down the track, it'll still be fine to make into butter. In fact, it's probably better.
Yeah.
So yes, if you're ever at the supermarket and you see pure cream reduced, grab it.
I
Don't
have a
worry,
colleague
grab
that I
the
work
whole
with
shop.
that found some cream in the back of her fridge that had like the date was a few months ago, and she
Yeah.
still made butter. It's still fine. You're whipping out the buttermilk, so don't
Yeah.
worry about the date.
Yeah.
All right, so I've just come over to the butter recipe now, because I'm now going to follow that so I can show you how to make butter. Basically exactly the same as what we've just done when you're just making butter. 600 grams of pure cream or thickened cream like I've used. Actually, it doesn't use the butterfly, does it?
No, don't believe it does.
Oh yeah, it does. Insert butterfly. So the butterfly is still in there. So this is if I was just making butter. I'm just going to show you now what the process is. So again, it says a minute. I'm going to just go with that on speed 4, and you'll hear the buttermilk start to separate from the milk solids. You probably won't hear it because Zoom cuts the noise out for us. You probably see the machine moving around a little bit, because it actually gets quite jiggly when it does this.
It's agitating that cream to get the butter.
Agitated, that's the word. I said jiggly.
But it's a great way, again, seeing one product making into 2 products. So that's another beauty thing of Thermomix as well.
I can start to hear it now. It's separating. It's leaving the machine moving around a little more. Okay, I'll stop it there before I get splashed in the face. And what we have is butter. Look at that. I nearly ended up with buttermilk all over my laptop then. So we're just going to take that was less than a minute. And I'd already whipped the cream. Just pop that in there. So remove the butterfly. Using the simmering basket to drain. So we're going to drain off all of that buttermilk. And then you want to reserve that buttermilk for your baking. So we can put buttermilk in cookie dough, which I'll show you a little bit later. And you can search for something to cook using that buttermilk from making butter. I quite often freeze mine in little Ziploc bags in the freezer in about 100-gram portions. And then I'll use that in a banana bread or in the buttermilk bread or in scones, any kind of baking. Next time you're at the shops, I want you to pop this down on your notes as well. Next time you're at the shops, please cost for me the price of a carton of buttermilk. It's quite expensive when you buy it already made.
Now you'll notice, do you want to talk us through that hot trick that you're doing with your simmering basket there?
Oh yeah. So it says to kind of drain it through the simmering basket. So pouring it like this, that's a fat waste of time and a really big messy exercise. Just put the basket in. It's got strainer holes here at the edge. Hold the basket in place and just pour it out that way. It's so much easier because then what it's going to ask you to do is put the butter solids back in the Thermomix, which I can skip because they're already in there. Hope that makes sense.
Did everyone just have a haha da-da
light bulb.
moment? Like I know
Excuse
when
me 1 second while I get cold water.
Yep.
All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to wash those milk solids. That's asking us for 500 grams of chilled water. We want to wash out as much of that buttermilk as we can because the buttermilk is what's going to make your butter go rancid or go off. So we want to wash out as much of that as possible. So 500 grams of water or thereabouts. Oh, $4.99, that's pretty good. So it's telling me to add the butter solids back in. They're already in there. So 5
again,
seconds, speed 4.
just saving your dishes and not having to use anything more than you already need.
The liquids and solids are separated again. So we basically washed that butter. Okay. And then it's going to tell me to strain that out again. So I'll pop that basket back in. I'm actually going to strain that into a bigger jug. And you discard this strain. You don't keep this one. You can pop it on your garden. Really beneficial for the plants. So I've been told. All right, so we discard that bit. And then you're left with actual butter. So I might get that out and shape it into my butterbell. I think what are you going on with now? You're next?
I've got the caramelized, well, the sauteed onions with caramelization to show everyone, and then I'm going to show you how to chop them and put them on the bread.
All right, well, if you want to hang on a second, I'll grab my frozen pre-made butter out of the fridge and the freezer, and I'll share some tips.
Amazing. I might just there we go. There is our caramelized. You can see those beautiful caramelized onions there. And now when Kassan comes back, I'm just going to quickly chop them for a couple of seconds and I'll put them on my pizza.
So this is one I had previously made actually a couple of weeks ago. I just rolled it. It's actually got garlic and chopped parsley in it. So this is like a garlic and herb butter that's perfect for garlic breads. I can just slice off what I need. So keep that in the freezer. You could also flavour it with sun-dried tomatoes or different oils. Flavour it however you like. There's actually some butter collections on Cookie Do for different flavours. And I forgot, but I just found I had a buttermilk frozen in the freezer. So that's how I freeze mine. So I'll use that on a banana bread another day. Over to you, Karina.
All right, so it actually tells you as part of the recipe if you want to chop them down to do so. So I've just done that for just purely 3 seconds, I believe. So you can see I've got our beautiful sauteed onions that have just got that caramelization color on. And again, that's one of the exclusive things to our TM6. So I'm just going to grab, so I have the buttermilk bread that Kassan is about to show you how to make. I've got some pre-done here. And I'm just going to use that. I said pizza before, but like a little bit of a flatbread. So the one thing I really love about our doughs is they do tend to be very versatile.
Sorry.
So I'm just going to put the onion on.
Giggling to myself. I haven't put salt in it.
What, in your butter?
Yeah, I'm not putting that away with no salt in it. Sorry.
No. All right, I'm going to put those on. I'm just spreading them out. So I'm going to have them as a bit of a side dish to our dinner tonight. So we're going to have the coleslaw, which I'm about to show you, this bread, and I think my husband is hopefully doing some chops on the barbecue. Fingers crossed. I can't hear him getting that ready or sorted, so it might be a very late dinner. But yeah, I'm just going to drop that. I don't know whether you can see it there. I'll lift it up. We're just dropping.
Oh, yum.
Yeah, onions on. So I just use white, well, brown onions, but you could use red onions as well. There's quite a few different high heat recipes for onions and garlic. So there's have a look through. Sometimes I use like the caramelized red onion chutney, which is beautiful and really easy to make. Again, all pretty much set and forget. Yeah, so very, very easy side that you can do in just a matter of, well, took 10 minutes to do the onions, but again, that was all hands-free. You could be out enjoying a drink or whatever while that's happening, and then come back and finish the flatbread if you're doing side or having a barbecue or anything like that. So I'm going to put that in the oven for about 20 minutes. So hopefully by the end of the class, it'll be already on 200 degrees.
And I've just popped the butter in one of our butter bells. I don't know if you guys have heard of butter bells before, but these are super cool. So your butter goes in there and it goes in upside down. And in colder climates, that sits in your pantry. On the Gold Coast, not so much. I'm going to store mine in the fridge.
Absolutely. Yeah, butter would go pretty rancid here in our on the bench. Now, if you have done high heat, especially with the caramelization, you might end up with a bowl that looks very similar to this. This is quite normal. What I'm going to do, I won't do it as part of the class, but what you can do is use your pre-clean mode and go onto your browning. So it's the browning option under your pre-clean mode, which is the same place where I got the chop from. You cover the blades, about 1 litre of water. Doesn't have to be hot, just cold water. And I usually use about 50 grams of white vinegar and just do it on that browning mode. Let it do its thing. Most of it will come away. I find that any little bits left over, once I pop it in the dishwasher, the jets of the heavy pressure of the water of the jets does anything that's left on the bowl, and your bowl should come out perfectly pristine and clean. So again, that is quite normal, just like the bottom of your fry pan would be if you were doing it traditionally. So bear with me, I'm just going to have to grab my second jug out of the dishwasher. Thank goodness that is finished. The joys of having 2 jugs. I know one of my customers, Jade, who's on tonight, she took up that deal that was a couple of weeks ago. So these are one of the benefits of having 2 bowls in your kitchen. All right, I'll leave you with Kassan for a moment.
Kassan, real quick, there's a couple of questions about salt in the chat with the
Yeah, I
butter.
just saw that. So it's
Yep.
about a teaspoon and a half. Depends how, it's personal preference really. But I find it does need salt. When you buy butter from the shop, some of it is unsalted, some of it is salted. I prefer the salted, so it's just personal preference. You'll find in a lot of baking that asks for butter will also ask you to put some salt in. So I just skip that step instead. I hope that answers the question. So I'm going to move straight on to the buttermilk bread.
Recording in progress.
Buttermilk bread. All right, pop in the chat, who has made bread or who loves making bread? I want to know all about your bread. I made a loaf the other day. Smells amazing. Oh, got another question. Oh, Jody, it's meant to be salty. It is your vegetable stock. You're only using a tablespoon in your whole cook. Same as if you bought some stock cubes from the shop and gave that a lick, it would be super salty as well. It's meant to be salty. That is your flavor and your preservative. You can store it in the fridge or in the freezer. It won't freeze solid in the freezer with that amount of salt. You can actually scoop it like ice cream straight out of the freezer and use it in your cooking. I don't recommend reducing the salt. It's meant to be like that. If you're concerned, Jodie, chat to your consultant. She'll be able to give you some more tips as well. So we'll get started on the buttermilk bread. Now it's asking me for 180 grams of buttermilk. I don't think I've got 180 here, but we'll see. So this is what I extracted from the butter earlier. Oh, no way, 182. There you go. This recipe was meant for this. That surprised me. All right, 200 grams of water. Oh, gone over. Doesn't matter. 2 teaspoons of yeast. I've just got to grab that out the fridge.
So yes, I really highly recommend making the dough. It is one of our parts of our learning demo that we like to do for you all as being new customers to make sure that you're getting the most out of your investment. This is kind of taking it to the next level of making bread, and please don't be scared of it. Bread is very, very easy, and I think it's attributed to the knead function of the Thermomix being a very what's the word I'm looking for? A very precise knead, because it's, you know, done in the Thermomix. You're not kneading it by hand, and it really knocks that air out. I always have good turnout of bread with my Thermomix, which I certainly wouldn't have made beforehand.
So we're just heating that through, heating the buttermilk, the water, and the yeast through at 37 degrees. The precise temperature control on the TM6 is amazing. So think of things like melting and tempering chocolate to the exact temperature. It is by the degree now. With the previous models, they were in increments of 5. So no, actually with the temperature, same temperature on the TM5, isn't it? It starts at 37.
Yes, it
I'm
does.
thinking
Yes.
scales, ignore that. But with the TM6, yes, precise temperature for things like heating your yeast to 37, your chocolate, your tempering of chocolate. You can be super precise with the temperatures. So use a really good quality bread flour as well when you're making bread. I use a baker's flour. Some people like to use that O flour. But use a really good quality flour to get a really good result. Keep the yeast in the fridge. Yes, buy a large box. I always buy the big cylinders of the yeast, and I store mine in the freezer. It actually doesn't freeze. It's still exactly, yep, same as that one. Still exactly the same as it is on the shelf. I store it in the freezer and I just get a lot longer out of it.
Yep. In the freezer. Yep.
Straight from the freezer, yeah.
Mhm.
All right. We got any more questions in the chat? Christine made the thermometer white loaf for visitors. Did I haven't showed the bread photo yet, have I?
No, you haven't. Yeah.
All right, so the buttermilk bread that I'm making, I hope everyone can see that. This one was done using the sensor. So the sensor is also a host reward on at the moment, and it's a digital thermometer for your breads, your cakes, cooked to perfection, even your roasts, your steaks, your chicken pieces in the oven, all of your meat, and it's connected to your TM6. It tells you when it's perfectly cooked based on the temperature, and it also connects to an app. So you don't have to be using the Thermomix or Cookie Do to use the sensor. You can use it standalone via the Cooking Center app as well. So that's the bread there using the rose gold loaf tin and the sensor. All right, I'll just stop share 1 second. All right, that's heated up. 500 grams of baker's flour. And I know you do, Karina, but it's a great tip for everyone starting out with the Thermomix. If you're going to be doing a lot of baking or pizzas or breads, grab the one from Costco. It's a lot cheaper to grab it in the very, very big bag. I've got so much flour, I've just bought another bag. But I get through it. I somehow get through it. What is it, 25 kilos?
25 kilos, yeah. A hot tip too is if you've got the space, buy a chest freezer for all those things that you're going to see marked down, for all your veggie scraps that you're going to use in your stocks, for your flours, for everything else that you have come across Thermomix wise. I highly recommend, if you've got the room, get a chest freezer and do keep your flours, especially here in Queensland, in the freezer. And just seems to keep, kills all those, if there's any weevils or anything in the glue, it'll kill all the eggs in there and you won't have all the nasties in your flour. So, and again, I just have Tupperware containers. So I just pull out 5 kilos of baker's flour at a time and about 2 kilos of plain flour at a time.
So that's kneading now for 3 minutes. So if you're ready, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get on.
All right, if you're ready to go into the mayonnaise.
Yep, let's do that.
Okay.
All right, I am going to do cooked mayonnaise. Something, again, I would have probably never have done traditionally. I still get a little bit nervous with it, but I know it is perfectly fine. In the Thermomix, you'll find that it will very, very 99% of the time never ever split. And it is very, very simple and easy. Most of this recipe is just tip everything in and let the Thermomix do the work. So I was going to show you a hot little tip here. It's on your recipes. If you've already pre-done something of your recipe, for instance, I think this one tells me down here in the recipe to place a jug on the mixing bowl lid and weigh oil in it. Set aside the small bowl, crack 2 eggs. I've already done that. So a little hot tip is to just click on the next number or the next step of where you're at in the recipe. And instead of having to hit next, it'll take you straight to that step. So it just saves a little bit of time. So it's asking for a teaspoon of salt. Another little tip as well, again, I do try and tell it at most of my deliveries, but I know everyone has a different style. If it's asking for a teaspoon and you don't happen to have a teaspoon on you, you can bring up your scales at any time during a guided recipe. So up here by the next button, there's 3 little dots, and one of those options is scales. So I don't tend to do it with a teaspoon, but a tablespoon's around about 20 grams. So I never get tablespoon out. I just literally open up my scales, weigh in 20 grams and go straight back on with the recipe. So that's another little good tip too. I'm going to put a teaspoon of salt in there, 30 grams of white vinegar, which I've just got pre-weighed. And we're going to place the simmering basket up on top. I've got it down here. So we're putting that on top. And we're going to do that for about 3 minutes as well. So what that's going to do is heat up the vinegar with the salt and get that all ready so we can do our mayonnaise. So this is great. Again, it's only going to make a very small amount. There'll be enough here for a coleslaw and maybe a few other things. Should make around about 300 grams. But really good to make your quantities, make your own sauces at home. Again, cutting out those preservatives, you know exactly what's gone in your meals. And I tell a lot of my customers as well, you're making a lot more from scratch, but it's not taking you any more time really than what it would be to go down to the supermarket and grab some mayonnaise if you needed it for a recipe. Most of the time you've got the basic ingredients in your pantry. And it just, as I said, saves on that petrol, saves on time, and you can have it done in, 5 to 10 minutes, most of these recipes. All right, looks like Hassan is ready. So put yourself back on.
Yeah, just showing that dough.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop that aside into the silicone mat. Can I just show them that quickly so you can?
Of course, yeah, I've got 2 minutes. Go for it.
All right, so we've got the silicone mat here, which is also one of our amazing host rewards. This one's a little bit discolored. This is the oven mat that comes with it. You can get them in a pack or you can get them separately. But as a host reward, I believe they're the pack.
Yes, they are. Yep.
Tip that out. and then twist your blades to help you get it out.
So this is another hot tip as well.
Yeah.
If you're right, no, I'm just meaning what you're doing is another hot tip. So for anyone who is taking notes tonight, that is something to, so you're not putting your hand directly onto the blades to grab it all out, because you won't see your blades under the dough. So that's a really good, safe way of removing your dough without touching the blades.
Another one that I've seen people do it as well, when you're twisting that, if it doesn't release, you can actually just release your blades and they will drop down. So
yes.
You can get it out that way. So that's another way to do it.
Especially here in Queensland where the humidity gets us sometimes and the dough is a lot more stickier than it should be.
Which is this dough. And I forgot, the tip said add 50 grams of extra flour because it's really sticky. I didn't do that.
Just add a bit more on your baking mat. It'll be right, and work it in.
So I'm going to just sit that aside to prove. Now, a lot of people, this is another tip. A lot of people just go like that. Okay, and then fold the ends in. And what happens is as it expands, it all kind of escapes at the corners. So you want to trap it in there by doing it diagonally, like a little envelope, leaving a bit of room. So leaving a bit of room around your mat for that dough to expand. I've never had dough escape from that kind of envelope.
I love that. I think I've learned something tonight. There you go.
Oh, yay! All right, over back to you.
All right, so we've got that vinegar all heated up. And now it is asking us to turn the selector to speed 3. Meanwhile, follow the next step. So we've got our eggs in here. And so I've just taken the simmering basket off. Oh, she hasn't put me on spotlight. One moment. Replace. There we go. So we're just going to drop the eggs. So I've taken the simmering basket off and we've got an open hole. We're just going to drop the eggs straight over the top there. While the blades are going, hit next again. That's going to mix through. Hit next. We're going to insert the measuring cup back in. And we're going to turn our selector around to speed 6. And it says to very slowly pour the reserved grapeseed oil. Actually, I might just stop it there for a second. So grapeseed oil is a very light tasting oil. So again, with mayonnaise, it's really important that you get something that's light tasting. Now, some people like the olive oil, get the light olive oil. I find grapeseed gives it, produces the oil without that sort of really overpowering taste. So we're just going to drop it in. The other thing I wanted to tell you too is your lid of your Thermomix is actually concave, just ever so slightly. So you can I usually pour the first 50 to 100 grams. I've got 300 grams here, very, very slowly. And once you've sort of got it going and you can hear that it's starting to thicken as mayonnaise, you can basically what we call dump the rest of the oil up the top of the lid and it will slowly drizzle down for you. So you don't have to stand here and steadily pour it for 3 minutes. All right, I'm going to get back going. Yeah, you can't hear me.
Sorry. You muted yourself. Did you want me? Oh, it's too noisy. All right. Where are we up to? Oh, I was going to do a bit of cookie dough for you guys. So I'll just share my screen. Sorry. Cookie dough seems to have taking a break. Don't you love technology? All right, so hopefully you can see my screen. This was actually the collection that we created for tonight's class. So if you haven't already had a bit of a lesson with your consultant on Cookie Do, please reach out to them. There is so many things to explore and to learn in here. I'm just going to show you some really quick and easy basics so that you can get familiar. You can basically treat this search Cookie Do bar here exactly like Google and put in anything that you're looking for. I'm just going to hit search. If you don't have about 10,000 recipes coming up on your search, you need to change your filters. So mine have got English, Australia, United States, and the UK. And that gives me about 10,000 in English. If you want to find where to do that, that's all in your profile, in your account, and you can go into your preferences and change your filters. I believe you do need to log back out of Cookie Do and log back in for that to take effect. But you will get presented with so many more recipes in English. In this view, it's just recipes. There's no rhyme or reason. It's not even in alphabetical. It's just completely random. We change it to collections. It's all in kind of cookbook order or flavor or food styles, or you can search many different ways in this mode. So in this view of collections, you can search for accessories. So say the cutter, the sensor, your varoma even. You might want to utilize that varoma a little bit more. Search varoma, and it will show you all of the steaming layered cooking meals. You can also search by mode. So your TM6 comes with slow cook mode. Show me all the meals that are slow cooking. I want to get familiar with how to do that. The high heat onions that Karina did earlier, and I said to you, reach out to your consultant to find out where that is. I'm going to show it to you now. So high heat. This is where you can find all of those high heat recipes on individual ingredients like cube chicken, browned beef cubes, bacon, capsicum, mushrooms, onions, all that kind of thing. So search high heat in collections. You can also search by event. So for those of you who've got kids, you're looking for some inspiration for kids parties, just search kids. We've got Mother's Day coming up. Oh, I've got to plug in my laptop or I'm going to die. 1 second.
But yes, lots of Mother's Day beautiful meals there. So depending on what you're doing for Mum this Mother's Day, or if it's about you, definitely have a look at those ones.
That was close. Okay. Yeah, Mother's Day, Christmas. You get the idea. You can search for any kind of event that you like. So really utilize that search mode in collections. We will just go back to recipes, and I'll show you another quick few tips on your filters. So when you're doing your meal plan, you might just want to look up a pasta dish. You might have some chicken that you've defrosted the other day that you need to use up. Chicken thigh. Show me all the pasta dishes with chicken thigh. What can I cook? And then obviously you're going around your fridge and your pantry and working out what else you can make. You can also put in things like gluten-free, nut-free, dairy-free in your tags, which is down a little bit further. Tags is here. So really handy to utilize your filters. There's also really easy ways to meal plan. So I'll just pop a couple of things in. We can literally hit these 3 dots here and go cook today. We could open the recipe and have a look at the ingredients and decide, yeah, actually I want to cook that this week, and click add to my week. I'm going to cook that on Friday. Save. You can also add things to your collections. So much like Pinterest creates folders for different categories of things you want to save, Cookie Do is kind of like Pinterest for your food. So add to collection. I'm going to add that to my baking collection, which I've got down here, Baking Bonanza. So there's lots of different ways you can save things to go back to later. So in my week, I've got the meals in my week. I've got to tell Cookie Do what I want to grocery shop for. So I might have planned for a month, but I only want to grocery shop for, say, the next 3 days. I just want to tell it what I want to shop for, add to my list, get the idea. And then you go to your shopping list and hit show ingredients. Hope I'm not going too fast and this is making sense. Cookie Do puts everything in category. So aisle of the supermarket order makes it really easy to shop through your fridge and freezer and pantry first and tick off things that you don't need to buy. You can also add items down the bottom like milk, toilet paper, dog food, those kind of things. And then when you're at the shops, you open the app on your phone and tick off the items as you put them in your trolley. Or for those of you who like to do Woolies click and collect, clicking on this button here will dump your shopping list straight into Woolies online. So we're all connected that way. But that's a little bit of the basics of Cookie Do. I hope I actually shared some info that you didn't know and that you've learnt a few things tonight on Cookie Do. If you're not sure, get in there and have a play with it. It is really user-friendly, or reach out to your consultant. They would love to hear from you. We love getting customer calls and asking questions about things like Cookie Do. So reach out to them. Where are you up to, Karina?
I have finished that mayonnaise. So that is our beautiful cooked. I'm trying to do it back to front of the camera, but yeah, a lovely thick, beautiful home cooked mayonnaise. And because it's cooked, you've cooked that egg. It makes it really safe for pregnant people that can't have raw egg, or if anyone's allergic to raw egg, they can have this too, which is a really great alternative. So again, I'm going to try and show you. I might just pull it down a little bit. Excuse my messy bench. But another good tip that I use, so we do have a jam funnel in the mix shop, but I'd like to simply just turn my lid over. I've just got a old jam jar here that I've, sterilized out. I'm going to hopefully balance that on there and pour straight into my jar. So that'll keep in the fridge. I would say around about a week to 2 weeks in the fridge, because obviously you've got no preservatives in there. But like everything, I always do the smell test. If it's not smelling amazing, then it's probably had its day. I have actually got a bit too much in there, so I'm just going to put some in that bowl. I'm going to leave some in the bowl because I'm about to start on the coleslaw as well, which is really, really quick and easy.
Just going to that recipe. Guys, down the bottom, there's lots of tips and tricks. If you don't scroll all the way to the bottom of the recipe, you're not going to find it. So there's always tips on storage. So it's saying 2 weeks. It's giving you variations as well. So there's a garlic mayo. You could add mustard and do a mustard version. Just because it's telling you on the screen how to make something doesn't mean you're not in charge. So if you want to change the flavors for something, you easily can do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as I said, I'm just going to leave it dirty in the bowl because we are literally going to put our coleslaw ingredients on there, and coleslaw has mayonnaise in it. So again, not having to.
The other thing you can do as well is throw in some cooked chicken breast and do shredded chicken in 4 seconds, and it will soak up all that mayo in the bowl. So think about what you're making and how you can utilize what's in the bowl without washing it into something else. My favorite is when you melt chocolate and you don't get all the chocolate out of the bowl, throw some milk in, make a hot chocolate.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that one. Okay, so I'm just going to put up a little bit. So here I have all my coleslaw ingredients. I've got 200 grams of red cabbage, green apple, 100 grams of carrot, and about 50 grams of red onion. Now, there is obviously a guided recipe, but coleslaw is the quickest and easiest thing that you can do in your Thermomix. We're simply going to use it on manual. I'm going to dump everything straight in there all at once on top of that mayonnaise.
It's literally seconds, isn't it?
Yes. Yep. So 3 seconds on speed 4. And with anything in your Thermomix, if you're finding things are going a little bit too far, you're probably doing it on a too high speed or for too long or both. So everything we find, less is more. You can always add another chop to it or another couple of seconds, but you can't take them off. Once you've chopped it, it's chopped. So less is always more in the Thermomix, and everything is only going to take you just a few seconds. So it's not like it's going to put you behind in time.
Yeah, there's no undo button.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, Control Z. Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes.
I don't think we'll get the software update for that either. That's it. Undo button.
And I think it's probably a very common mistake for new Thermomix owners, where they think, because they're so used to traditional cooking where things do take minutes or hours or longer, whereas in Thermomix you're in seconds and minutes, and on the very odd occasion hours. So we're just going to put that onto speed 4. 3.
And you can have it super chunky, however you like it, or you can have it really fine, like that, almost like that KFC coleslaw, which is a bit too fine for me, but you can kind of control the chunk.
So mine is still quite chunky, so that's okay. I'm just going to go back. It does say to do it twice because you want to give it a bit of a mix, just to make sure that you're lifting all those ingredients so they get an even chunk throughout. And
sometimes there'll be a bit of carrot or something stuck.
That's right.
It hasn't been chopped. So 2 lots of what? 3 seconds?
I'm going to be honest, the recipe does say speed 4, but I find speed 5 is just that a little bit more. Yes, perfect. So I did that for speed, that was on speed 5 for another 4 seconds. So 8 seconds in total. And that coleslaw is absolutely perfect.
Looks good.
8 seconds, guys. Like, you wouldn't be able to do that by hand any other way. Even prepping, it only took me 5 minutes to cut off a slither of cabbage, cut up an apple into quarters, a carrot into quarters, quickly peel it because I prefer it that way, and half a small red onion done. So you can have that prepped, ready to go in the fridge. And usually I get Ben to tell me when he's got 5 minutes left on the barbecue, and I make the coleslaw, so it's all ready at once.
Hey, great. You can make it the day ahead too. Like if you're entertaining, you can do these things day ahead.
And it's cleaned out the bowl pretty well as well. So that's something else too. I really haven't lost a lot of mayonnaise. It's picked it up all through the coleslaw as well. Just before I jump off, I am going to show you that beautiful bread that I made.
Yeah, because I've only got proved dough and the photos I shared earlier, so I don't have one that I can show you finished.
Yeah. So
but you can see it's proved quite well.
And that is the bread there. So you can see there it's a beautiful flat bread, nice and cheesy. So this even might go, I can't see Ben and I eating all this for dinner. We'll end up like bakery rolls. So I think it might be going in the kids' lunch boxes tomorrow.
Yum.
Yeah.
Love that. All right. So I think we've actually cooked everything we're going to cook, haven't we?
Yes, that is it. That is our class.
Did you want to talk through the host rewards and the joining option and all those kind of what's next steps with their consultants?
Absolutely, yeah. So I think we touched on it earlier, obviously, with Kassan using the beautiful bread mat. It's one of our host rewards. So what you've seen tonight is pretty much, again, just as the class states, our Easy Essentials class. So it is really just that basics and next step after your delivery, just to see a few different things that the Thermomix can do. We didn't use the Varoma tonight, which is obviously the steaming basket that sits on top of your jug. So if you haven't seen that and you haven't booked in for your learning demo with your consultant, I highly recommend doing that, and potentially even doing a Varoma dish class so you can see that Varoma in action and really utilize that. Again, that's probably another thing I hear a lot from my customers, that the next learning demo for them is the Varoma because they just don't use it enough. What was I going to say? So book in for that. Even try and tie it in with so one of our host rewards that we have is our Cookie Do subscription. And so really, I'd implore you all to book in around about that four-month mark, so you can, once your trial is run out of your 6 months, that you can get your Cookie Do subscription, hopefully for free, but at the very least $20 for a year. And it's usually $69. So that's a really great one.
Well,
Yes, so we've got our
Thank you.
sensor, and probably the first the first host reward that I always implore all of my customers to get, and Kisan is probably the same, is the round thermo server, which she's holding at the moment. It is absolutely invaluable. We probably use it, I would say, with every meal that we're making.
Almost daily.
Yeah, almost daily. So you can rest your risottos in it. It's great when I'm doing kids swimming. I'll have dinner cooked and holding into it. We'll go and do our swimming classes and come home and have our dinner all ready to go. Good for cold as well, so it's a double wall insulated. Yeah, so I think there's the great thing is that the host rewards is a massive, well, not massive, but there's quite a few things to choose from, which we didn't have in the past. So it means that your learning is absolutely endless. The last thing we want as consultants and team leaders is you not to be using your investment. So if you're finding you've lost a bit of your Thermomix mojo, or you need some inspiration, that is when we ask you to pick up the phone, even text message us and let us know that, you're just needing us to pop over again and maybe run through a couple of dishes, just to get that invigoration back. And as I said, we reward you with our beautiful host rewards. So there's always something new to choose from, and you're not limited to the amount of demos that you can have. Some people have 6, some people have 2, and everywhere in between. But yeah, probably the biggest thing was I wanted to learn more about my Thermomix. At the time, my consultant was not in my area. There wasn't a lot of classes on, and I really wanted to get the most out of my investment. I just spent quite a bit of money on this machine that I did not want to collect dust. So as I was saying, I think it was yesterday, 8 years ago, I bumped into our now state manager and said to her, "Oh, how do I get to learn a bit more about my Thermomix so I get the use out of it?" And she was very good at what she does, and said, "Well, the best thing to do is to come on board and be a consultant, and you're surrounded by like-minded people, and you'll really get to know different recipes." And we all use our Thermomixes very differently. Some people have allergies, some people prefer cuisines, the sharing of recipes in that community. So I thought, sure, why not? I'll do it for 6 months, give it a go, learn what I need to do, and make a sale or 2 along the way. Well, so be it. But that was my main reason for joining, was to get the most out of my machine. Well, I absolutely, obviously, 8 years later, I'm still doing it. It was a bit of a twofold. I really loved our branch. Our branch, I think, even over my 8 years, hasn't really changed much. Kisan started a couple of years before I did, and the top sort of leaders haven't really changed overly.
No.
We've still got a very similar culture that we had when I first started. We all like to share. We like to share our recipes, our knowledge, our love of Thermomix, and I think that's what kept me on. And yeah, just seeing like your beautiful customers that you joined us tonight, and how much a Thermomix can change your lives. So I know it sounds very cliche, but it is very, very true. And it's, what it means to me on our kitchen bench in our family home will mean something quite different to all of you. But it's the same machine that links us together. So yeah, which I think is just
we're a really sort of fun, supportive bunch. It's very, very welcoming. So, Kathy's asking me, where's the cocktail?
Well, there had to be one.
I feel so out of my, I don't know. I feel like it's an out of body experience that I'm not sitting here drinking a cocktail. It's so weird. Anyway, next one. That's next month.
So we run, in between our Easy Essential classes, we run our big classes with the rest of our Southwest Queensland branch, where all the girls sort of get together and we cook a dish. And Kisan has taken the hat of the cocktail queen. So anyone new here, Kisan doesn't usually cook with the Thermomix. She just likes to make cocktails in it. So it really got to work out tonight. You should be all feeling very privileged.
I have customers that, I post photos of my food online and they're like, "Didn't know you cooked in your Thermomix." Like, yeah, I cook as well.
But yes, do reach out to your consultant. The next class, I think, is going to be early May. I want to say around the 8th of May.
I think it's the 9th. Let me just quickly bring it up.
So we're only a few weeks out from that one.
So 9th of May.
9th of May. So same time, guys, 7:30. And you'll get to see about 5 or 6 dishes in an hour. You might be lucky enough to see me again, but you'll definitely see Kasan with our cocktail. She never misses a beat with that one unless she's got pressing engagements like her daughter's dinner that she had on the last time.
But please reach out to your consultants, guys, so that you are
Yes.
advised when they are and how to register, so you can get the link for all the classes you can attend.
Yep.
I cannot recommend them enough, not just because I'm part of them, but because I'm always learning. Even
Yes.
10 years later, I'm still learning from amazing consultants. So they're always
Well,
free. Jump on. We love seeing you. We do
Yeah.
have as well at the end of the class tonight, when you hop off, a little survey will pop up. It's only a couple of questions. Please, please, please fill in that survey. It does help us look after you better.
Yep. And make sure that these classes are informative and what you need to see. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thank you, Kasan, for budding up together. It's been great doing a
Oh,
class
thank
with
you. I think we'll
again.
partner up for the rest of the year. I think we did all right, don't you?
Oh, I think we might get some of our beautiful consultants on next time. We might just sit back and watch the magic happen.
Absolutely. If anyone's got any questions that want to speak up, please feel free to jump off mute. I'm happy to answer questions live if you've got them as well. Other than that, we're all done.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.